Set up that recording. Very good. So welcome officially to the information session for the Rutgers Business School Masters of Science in Digital Marketing program. I am Stacy Schwartz, the founding director of the program. The program is just about 4 years old. We launched in the fall of 2019, and I've been a full-time faculty member at Rutgers since 2015. Prior to that, worked in industry, specifically Right Place, Right Time helped kind of launch digital advertising back in the mid-1990s, and found myself doing a lot of explaining digital to non-digital people over the next 20 years or so, which led me to teaching, which led me to part-time adjunct at Rutgers, which led me to full-time at Rutgers, and launching this program. So it's my pleasure to acquaint you all with it. And joining me today, I have two people. The first is Trudy Ann Hewitt. She is our senior program coordinator. So many of you will likely hear from Trudy as we go through, as you go through the application process, and once you're a student, the onboarding process, and she really keeps the program afloat on a daily basis. And Sarah Parr is one of our current students, who has done a lot of exciting things with us, and you'll hear from her throughout the session today as well. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so just to give everyone some context, I thought it would be good to sort of put this program in the larger landscape or ecosystem of what Rutgers Business School offers. Basically, when I started full-time here in 2015, we were ranked the best public business school in, central New Jersey. And then eventually under our dean, current dean, Dean Lele, who actually also became dean the same year that I started working here full-time, 2015, we've really grown both in focus and in innovation and in the rankings over the years, and our profiles really increased. So today we are the #1 public business school in the Northeast, and we're ranked 21 of best public business schools for our MBA program in the country by US News and World Report this year. We have 12 specialty master's degrees in our graduate portfolio. A specialty master's degree is different than an MBA because of the word specialty. It's more focused. So whereas an MBA asks you to take a whole bunch of broad courses across all of business, accounting, supply chain, finance, marketing, etc., then you can have the option of concentrating in one of those areas. And a concentration looks something like 3, 4, 5 classes. The rest of them are more general and supportive. A specialty master's degree assumes that you already have the path that you want to go on, and you want to go deeper into that subject area without having the other supportive classes. So there's a lot of reasons why somebody might pick an MBA versus a specialty master's. One is not necessarily better than the other. It really depends on your goals. A specialty master's degree allows you to not only not take the kind of complementary classes, but it also allows you to take a lot more classes in your specialty. So where you might have 4 or 5 courses in a concentration, you're going to have 10 courses focused just on your specialty area. So it's a lot more hands-on and a lot more experiential. In general, the program is also shorter, so it takes a lot less time and costs less money than an MBA. So these are sort of some of the factors to think about. I will be honest with you, there's some students that I counsel that I tell them, you know what, you're already doing really well in marketing. You already have a lot of these skills. It seems like what you're missing is the business stuff that's not marketing. Go get your MBA. I've told people that. And I've also talked to people about, this program. So obviously, so, each person has different needs, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about that if they're thinking about the difference and which one they should do. This program is our only program of the 12 that focuses on marketing. The other specialty master's degrees are in accounting, finance, supply chain, etc. We are one of 4 of those 12. We are one of 4 that is fully online. The other ones are either hybrid or in person. And overall, those 4 fully online programs rank number 16 in the US for best online master's degrees, public or private institution. We rank number 16 in the country and number 4 in the Big Ten. And specifically what I'm so proud of in, just our 3rd, 4th year here, we were ranked number 5 for all of online degrees, online master's degrees in marketing in the country this year. And what I love about that is that it's not a ranking of digital marketing programs, it's a ranking of marketing programs. So I always say that it sounds a little bit silly since I'm the founding director of this program, but I always say that my goal in life professionally is that we kind of don't need this program because digital marketing is not a separate discipline from marketing, right? So if we go to school for a marketing degree, we should be going where our customers are, right? We're being led by the market. That's what marketing is. And if our customers are constantly using digital to make their purchase decisions and they bring digital with them wherever they go, then certainly as marketers, we need to be thinking about digital incorporated with real life. And that's what we try to do in this program to kind of catch everybody up. But eventually, the world of education should not really distinguish, and for that matter, the world of industry should not really distinguish between digital marketing versus marketing. It's just marketing in a digital world and an omni-channel world across channels. Okay, so that's who we are today. When we first launched, just to give you an idea of what we were seeing and why we see a need for this program continuing, digital marketing skills were and continue to be the number 1 skill that any marketing recruiter was looking for and is still looking for. So when asked, what skills do you need for any marketing hire walking through the door, digital marketing is the number 1. So in 2018, 59% of all jobs needed digital marketing skills. Today, that number is higher. But what's even more important than the fact that demand is so high is that supply is still so low. So digital marketing actually represents the biggest gap between supply and demand for talent among hiring managers. So it's frustrating. It was frustrating for them to see that 60% of their jobs needed digital marketing skills and only 19% of candidates were walking through the door with skills they could verify related to digital marketing. So that's really what got my wheels turning as a professor, having come from industry, that made me realize employers want a way of really making sure that people walking in the door have the skills that they need for these jobs. And of course, with the pandemic, that only got kind of more extreme. Companies that did not have a strong digital infrastructure in 2019 rushed to build one in 2020. And then once they built that infrastructure, they certainly weren't going to throw it away afterwards. So even though in-person is now back, the emphasis on digital and how those two things intersect and having frictionless kinds of experiences for customers is ever more important. But yet, despite that, and it being a few years later, today, most marketing leaders say it's still difficult to find digital marketing professionals. And specifically this year, the biggest keywords for those digital marketing professionals they're looking for are digital marketing managers, UX and UI designers, marketing automation specialists, and marketing analytics specialists. So we were really hearing this from the employer side. And for many years, I taught in our certificate program for executive education. And we have still today a mini MBA program in digital marketing, which is very good. It's basically the equivalent of one class in our program. It's like our introductory course. And it's a certificate. So it's a continuing education kind of executive education certificate. And that program has a lot of executives in it. And I was hearing from those students that many of them wanted to do more. So they kind of got their appetite whetted with that certificate class. And they knew that I was a full-time professor at Rutgers. And they said, hey, does Rutgers have something else that I can start to think about taking now that I've taken this course? And we didn't. So I heard from the employers, and then I was hearing from the employees that this was something that they wanted, and hence this program was built. So to tell you a little bit about it at a high level, after all of that preamble and context, we are a Master's of Science degree from an accredited AACSB business school. And why is that important? There are a lot of digital marketing programs out there, and some of them come at it from a communications angle. Some of it comes at it from a professional development angle and more of a certificate or more of a general ed angle. Some of it comes from a vendor angle, and it's much more focused on the tactics and getting certified in some of the tools. It's important to us that we are the rigor and the foundational learning of an AACSB accredited business school. AACSB is the accrediting body for business schools in the US. That's the highest level of business school accreditation. And it's what Rutgers Business School's entire program runs on. So we are held to the same standards as our MBA program or an in-person degree is. So this is not a school of like world campus or online learning or continuing ed. Your diploma actually will say Master's of Science from Rutgers Business School. It doesn't say anything about online, and it's fully endorsed the same way our MBA program would be. It is 30 credits, which typically looks like 10 courses. It can look like 12 courses if you decide to take some of our mini courses that are half semester courses. But if you take full semester courses, which most of our courses are, you'll finish in 10 courses. If, depending upon your schedule and your needs, how quickly you choose to go through the program, excuse me, you could take 15 credits one semester this fall, for example, 15 credits in the spring, and you could be finished by May. I do not recommend taking a full-time course load of 12 to 15 credits if you work. Excuse me. Typically, people who work will take 2 classes or so, sometimes 1, sometimes 3, but on average, they're taking 2 classes, especially your first semester when you're getting the hang of where this is going to fit into your life. I would recommend fewer classes rather than more. But we do have students who are coming through the program full-time, and they are finished in 2 semesters, or possibly they stretch it and take a few in the summer, and they'll take 4, 4, and 2, for example. So it's really up to you how quickly or slowly you want to take it. You don't apply as full-time or part-time, you just apply. And then each semester you can change up however many classes you take depending on your life. So we have students who don't have a job when they start, and they start full-time, they get a job for spring, so they go back to 2 classes or 1, or they're getting married that spring, so they decide to skip a semester because they want to go on their honeymoon and not have to deal with classes that semester, or they skip a summer, or they take more in the summer. So it's really modular based upon your schedule. All of our courses are fully online and asynchronous. So asynchronous means that you can log in anytime and watch pre-recorded lectures and do the work on your own schedule. That said, we are not self-paced. Self-paced means you can go in anytime during the semester and do your work, and you're very independent. We stay together as a class. So for an entire class, module 1, for example, might open up on a Monday, and between Monday and the following Sunday, you can log in anytime, watch the lectures, do the work, but everyone's work is due that Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, so that we all stay on the same topic at the same time. Staying on the same topic at the same time means that we get to have some collaboration. You get to actually get to know your classmates. You might have paper swapping, you might have some small group projects, you might have some discussion boards, and we're able to talk about the same topic at the same time. So you still get the benefits of a network. When you graduate, you'll actually feel like you know some people, and I can tell you, we all hugged like crazy the first time because it felt like you knew people because we've interacted with them so much, but we don't have to be in person at all to do that. So we know that staying on the same topic at the same time enables peer-to-peer, classmate to classmate interaction, which is good for your networking. It's also good for staying engaged in the class and in the content because you're all able to really learn together. It makes you feel part of something and makes you feel like the class doesn't slip away from you and your schedule as easily. It also enables professor to student interaction. So if we're on the same topic at the same time, the professor has weekly office hours, which are optional, but they are live. And the professor can talk about that topic in the office hour. The professor can give everyone feedback or share an article about something that we're all talking about right now. So it enables a lot more connection and getting to know the professor, that everyone's staying on the same page. Any questions about that, about how that structure is? I know that's maybe new for some people. Okay, so the whole purpose of the program is to advance your career in marketing, start a career in marketing, increase your knowledge about marketing so that you can market your own business or your own venture or your own self a little bit better. And really, it's intended to both give you sort of strategic foundations about how to market in this omni-channel digital world. And it also gives you digital tools and tactics, okay? Where relevant, we do integrate some vendor or technology platforms. So where it makes sense, a class may use HubSpot or Hootsuite or Google advertising certifications. And those are great to have so that you can demonstrate to a potential employer that you're ready to take the ground running because I can help you with this platform right away. Or if they use a competitive platform, it shouldn't be that hard to learn because I've demonstrated I can learn this one. However, those things expire. Technology in this industry is like 18 to 24 months. And while I think these certifications are good signals to employers, I don't think relying on them as your digital marketing education, like getting Facebook certified, is not going to be the thing that helps you grow as a leader in marketing. So I think I'm careful where we put the certifications in the curriculum. So some of these you can get yourself without having to pay money to a school. So that's another reason I don't want to overemphasize them. And some of them you may get for free because it's with our school, or it's a very nominal charge where they might charge more if it's not through a class. But between the fact that they expire and the fact that they can be attainable on your own, I don't like to overemphasize them. On average, at graduation, our students, the informal poll I've taken of our students when they graduate, actually the formal poll I take of students when they graduate, tells me that students on average earn about 5 certifications when they're done with the program. Sarah, I'm going to turn to you real quick and put you on the spot. Do you know how many? First of all, maybe you should just quickly tell people how far you are into the program and then tell us how many certifications you've earned so far.
Sure. Okay. Hi, everybody. I am currently, I believe, 8 classes in. I have 2 more to take this fall, and then I'm going to be done. I have at least 3 certifications. I might have 1 more, but I definitely have 3, 2 Google, 1 HubSpot. And yeah, I believe we're getting the Hootsuite one in social media. Is that right, Stacey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I will have about 4 or 5, I think.
Great. And you're actually going to earn 2 more in your capstone class. So you'll end up getting 6.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So you'll be certified out this semester. And because our program is teaching digital marketing, and this is not things that people learned in school because programs like this didn't exist up until a few years ago, most of our professors, if not all, have industry experience as well. So some are full-time Rutgers professors, some are adjuncts that are teaching for us, as a part-timer, but all of them have like the academic credentials as well as the industry experience. So what I'm going to do next is share with you what the curriculum looks like. And this is available on our website as well. But just to give you an idea, Intro to Digital Marketing is the first course you take in the program your first semester. If you're only taking one class your first semester, this will be the one class. If you're taking 5, this will just be one of the 5. This is not a prerequisite to something else, but we do want you to take it your first semester. I teach this course, and I love teaching this course because it helps me get to know all the new people their first semester. And I know what's coming in all the other classes. So I'm careful to make sure that I'm kind of introducing all the topics on this slide in my class. So my class is like a table setting. Here's all the different parts of digital marketing, and we jump around from week to week. And that's your first semester. Your final semester, whether that's the following semester or it's 4 years later, your final semester, you'll be taking the capstone class, which is here on the right, the digital marketing strategy class. That class works with a real client, and you take what you learned in all of your other classes, and that professor makes sure to put groups together who have had different classes and different backgrounds, so that each small group represents kind of the whole industry, all the different tools and tactics and foundations, so that you as a group feel armed to talk about anything, and you put together a digital marketing strategy and present it to a real client. That's your final semester. Other than that, there is no prescribed order to take any of these. The 4 classes here with the black background: customer journey analytics, consumer behavior in a digital world, marketing research, and digital marketing law, policy, and ethics. Those 4 classes are required in addition to the introductory course and the capstone course. These courses are pretty foundational. These courses are not going to expire. These courses are what you should expect to take if you were an MBA with a concentration in marketing. These would be like 4 classes you would take against that concentration. These would probably be electives in the MBA program. But they're general, and they are modernized for our digital world, but they are not only focused on digital. They are kind of, thinking about consumer behavior and psychology of decision making, and then figuring out how does digital weigh in and change that process. The classes in the gray box down here below are all of our electives. And we have a lot of electives to choose from, and people sometimes get stressed about this because they can't pick 4 that they want to take, or potentially 6 if they're taking some of these half courses. But this is really intended to personalize and customize the program for each student, because some students are coming in and they have a ton of, for example, social media marketing experience already. And they know social media marketing, they've been doing social media marketing, and they may be coming to this program to round out their knowledge about marketing in general and put social media in context of everything else. So they maybe would not want to take the social media class, and instead they want to focus on complementary things like content marketing and search marketing, for example. So every student takes different classes depending on what they're interested in, when they're offered. Classes that are most popular are offered more often. Some classes are offered once a year. And the places where you see special topics are simply new classes. So a new class is called special topics when it first launches, and until it's taught 3 times. Once it's taught 3 times, and we've worked any kinks out if there are any, and it looks like students have interest and students like the class, then we put it in the regular rotation. And then these mini courses are brand new. They're launching this fall and spring. And this fall we have AI in marketing and marketing in the metaverse launching. And these are half semester classes. So these classes are 7 weeks, and students will take them in pairs. So either you take 2 classes in the fall, one starts and ends in the middle of the semester, or you could take 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, and together they form 3 credits. Sarah, which classes have you taken so far?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, so the only ones I have left to take are the capstone and social media. So obviously took all of the required, and then I took advertising, content marketing, and search marketing.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's hard to choose, right?
Oh my God, it's so hard. I was just thinking, like, if I had this option in undergrad, I'll talk more about this later, but I didn't major in marketing or anything. I would have torn this up because I usually took like 6 classes a semester. I would have taken all of these, but I kind of just, sat down with myself and thought, which ones do I actually have interest in and what do I want to dig deeper into? And that's how I came to my final decisions.
And by the way, I think this is later in the presentation, but we do allow and encourage alumni to audit classes for free. So if you are finished with the program and feel like, oh, there's a class I didn't get and I really wish I took it because I'm at work, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I didn't really get that in my program, you can audit the class and observe it. You wouldn't do the work, but you would see all the lectures and see all the materials. And you can track along with the class if you like. So there's always an opportunity for like lifelong learning across classes you didn't take, or as a refresher to a class that you did take. Maybe 5 years from now, you want to re-up your learning in a specific area.
That's such an amazing offer. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. So I usually tell people when they graduate, so you might not have heard it yet, but I'm trying to mention it earlier to people so that they're aware. And also we do have some students who choose to take more electives than they need to. When we first launched the program, it was a 36 credit program, and then we transitioned it to 30 credits. So we still do have some students who want to take 36. They can, but you're not obligated to. There's 30 credits toward your graduation requirement, but if work is paying for your school, we have students who just want to keep going because their company is paying and they want to learn more and they want to stay in it. So they're staying an extra couple semesters to take a few extra electives as well. So our courses are all taught on the Canvas learning management system. For those of you familiar with learning management systems, that means that you go to a website and the courses look something like this. I just wanted to give you an example where you open up a web page, you go to this week's module, and you'll see a lecture. Our lectures are not like the same as if you were in person. If you were in person, we would meet for an hour and a half twice a week, probably, or one time a week for 3 hours. There is no way that anyone at their computer is going to listen to a professor talk straight for an hour and a half or 3 hours. That's just not happening, and it's not the way you do good asynchronous online learning. So what we do is we try to chunk down our lectures into subtopics and make them 15 to 20 minutes each. So you'll see that in each module, there's like a subtopic and you'll see a lecture about it. Sometimes it's recorded like this, that looks more like a Zoom kind of thing. Other times it's in a studio and it's a little bit more professionally recorded. I am personally not a big stickler to professors for getting to our studio and doing it in our studio because we update content so often that I think it's a little bit impractical to demand that people get a professional recording done. And because not everyone's located in our area, but certainly it's quality enough using our systems that they can use at home, that they still have closed captioning, they still have video shown that's high quality video, and the audio should be good. So, they might be one of these two ways. Then you'll have some readings and some links and maybe a YouTube video, maybe a case study about each topic. And I would say on average, there's maybe 3 subtopics a week. So the amount of time you spend on the class should be the same as if it were in person. So if we were meeting in person and this was an in-person program, you would be in the classroom for 3 hours a week, and you'd probably have anywhere from 2 to 5 hours of work and reading outside of the classroom. That's exactly the way we structure this program. So when you're thinking about the time commitment, you should expect to spend a range of 5 hours to 9 hours per class per week. Average is 7. So we typically say, that's why I say you can't really do this full time if you're working full time, because if you want to give 35 hours to this program, you don't have 35 hours if you're working. Now, not every week is like that. Some weeks you'll spend 4 or 5 hours on a class. But when you have projects due or you have certain assignments, it might be 9. So that's why, I want to make sure everyone has a realistic view of the amount of time that the program takes. This is an example of some of our professors. I mentioned that they all have some industry experience. Mark Burgess, I know Sarah mentioned she took the content marketing strategy course. He's our professor for that class. He developed that class for us. And he had, after a career working in ad agencies in New York, he started his own consulting and marketing firm. And since then, he teaches a lot of courses for us. He also is an instructor for the AMA, which is the American Marketing Association, and for LinkedIn Learning. He is a TEDx speaker. He's a textbook author as well as a popular business book author. And his class is one of people's favorites. But the very favorite, you'll all be surprised to hear when I do my graduation survey, I always get that the third person here, Ed Filipazzo, the marketing law, policy, and ethics class is always everybody's favorite. And I think it's because it's such a sleeper. They think it's going to be boring. They think it's going to be a lot of reading, and it is kind of a lot of reading, but they think it's going to be not so fun of a class to talk about ethics and law. But it's a really exciting space to think about because the laws don't really keep up with the capabilities. And so what Ed talks a lot about, he's currently the vice president of global compliance and ethics at American Express. So for his job, he sits in between marketing and legal. And so he's interpreting, here's what we can do and here's what we should do. So for example, American Express has a lot of data about you, right? They know your purchase history. So wouldn't people love to remarket to you and say, hey, you bought this bracelet last year from this jeweler. Here's the matching earrings. Why don't you pick them up? Because it occurs to him, well, maybe this person didn't buy that as a gift for their wife. Maybe they bought it for someone else, and we'd be outing them if we sent this, email to them about buying it again or buying a matching set. So thinking about the ethics and what you should do and not just what you can do is really important. And students leave this class saying it changed the way they think about being a marketing manager and the decisions that they make. So people love that class. Madhvi Chakrabarty is a full-time professor at Rutgers like me. She also comes from industry like me. However, unlike me, she has her PhD in cognitive science and human factors. She holds 2 patents related to knowledge organization and visualization and analytics. She developed our customer journey analytics course. And Mary Owusu is a part-time professor who is really well known in the data world. She has been on the board of the Digital Analytics Association, the DAA, and she really, understanding data and understanding analytics, uses that to really teach students amazingly about SEO and SEM, because so much of search engine optimization is about the data of your pages, right? And the analytics of your pages. So she teaches that class. I don't remember, Sarah, you did not take that class, right? Or you did?
No, I took all of these classes. This slide just put a smile on my face.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Oh,
so in Mary's class, she does this. Do you want to describe the YouTube project?
Yeah. Oh, so we did a YouTube project, and a lot of her work, a lot of her experiential learning has to do with taking a lot of different steps and creating bite-sized exercises to execute the full project. So you'll go to her website, which I believe is called Sprint Marketer or something, and you'll look up all your keywords. You'll brainstorm things that you are knowledgeable about or that you want to make a YouTube video about. And then, you'll input all those keywords in, you'll see how competitive they are, what overall would be the strongest chance at you getting your YouTube video to gain traction. And then you go create your video, and then you post it online and you see how it picks up. And I believe some people in the class who've never posted a YouTube video before, they've gotten thousands of views, and it's actually reached a wide audience. So it's really cool to see stuff like that work in real time.
Thank you. Yeah, people love that aspect of that course, that they actually get to learn about it as a concept, and then they're actually doing it in the context of their YouTube video, trying to get it optimized on that platform. So this brings me to the students, and I'll turn it over to Sarah in a moment to give a little bit about her background and why she's in this program and what she's gotten out of it and hopes to get out of it. But generally speaking, and this is very general, and I'm not even sure Sarah will agree with my groups here, but generally speaking, I see 3 groups of students apply for the program and succeed in our program. The first are more of the younger people earlier in their career. These are people who want the graduate degree to set them apart from other people. The degree seekers may be more comfortable with digital to begin with. They're the ones that are maybe already on Snapchat and already on these platforms. They know how to use the platforms, but they don't necessarily know how to think about it in a strategic way. And they want the graduate degree, and they maybe want it quickly. So a lot of the degree seekers are newer graduates from undergrad. They maybe worked a year, or maybe in undergrad, they were doing some freelancing and co-oping, and they have some work experience in undergrad, and they are applying here right away. And they typically want to go full time and get it over with quickly and get that degree and be more marketable. Those are more representative of our younger students. Then we have marketing skill seekers, and this is the bulk of our students. I would say the degree seekers are maybe about 20%. The marketing skill seekers are people who are kind of working in marketing accidentally, I'm going to say. They're people who come into marketing from communications or from IT or from design or video production or sales or some other aspect, and they may know part of digital. They may be working on, for example, social media, or maybe they're doing search marketing, or maybe they're doing website design, but they don't really have the core foundational marketing skills to know why they're doing it, or like to put a strategy around it, or to put it in context of the rest of the marketing landscape. This is probably, I would say, 60 to 70% of our students. They don't necessarily have a marketing undergrad and undergrad degree, but they have sort of complementary skills, and they want to really get the marketing education. They may have 5, 7, 10 years experience in working. Then we have the digital skill seekers. These are people more advanced in their careers. These are people who maybe do have marketing undergrads, and they may even have an MBA 20 years ago. So these are people more advanced in their careers. They may be working as VPs of marketing. They may own their own companies. However, as they were growing up in the industry, they didn't have to learn digital themselves. It was a separate track back then, 20 years ago. If you didn't work in digital, you weren't doing digital. And now that they're more senior, they're overseeing people who are doing digital, and they're overseeing agency relationships who are doing digital. And they themselves feel a little bit unconfident about how to manage digital things and people and ask the right questions and stay relevant themselves. So they're coming back to school now, further in their careers, to really get the digital education, but they have the marketing education. Okay, so that's kind of representative of who our students are in general. And Sarah, I will now turn it over to you to give a little bit about your background, and maybe you feel like you do or don't fit into one of these, and what you're getting out of the program.
Yes, so I think I'm probably a mix of the first two. So to give a little background, I graduated in 2020, right into COVID. And at that point, my peers were having job offers rescinded. My interviews were being put on hold. I wasn't quite sure what my next step was, what to do. And I thought that, it could be a good time to study something and maybe get another degree, because who knows how long it'll last. And as I mentioned before, I did not get a marketing degree in undergrad. I majored in a few things, but marketing was not one of them. And I actually got most of my business experience from student organizations and directing business for the newspaper for 2 years. But by the time I learned that I really enjoyed the marketing aspect of business, it was obviously too late to add a minor or anything. So I took one marketing class my final semester, half of which was online. And as I was searching for potential degrees, which obviously were going to be online because of COVID, I actually got the Rutgers Master of Science Digital Marketing degree in my LinkedIn DMs, which is kind of how I found out about it. So I learned a little bit about it. And out of all the other ones that I was looking at, which were, maybe an MBA thing, this one really stuck out to me because if I was going to be in my childhood bedroom, working on like accounting or finance, like may as well just take me right back to high school, right? So I was like, what do I actually enjoy? What would be a fun way to pass the time as well as learn new skills that I might use in the future? And it kind of just pointed to this program specifically, which, right away was created to be online. So I knew that I wasn't going to be getting some like weird trial and error hybrid thing that wasn't supposed to be remote in the first place. So that was kind of why I decided to do it. And then in terms of my career and my lifestyle right now, I'm a copywriter and proofreader, and I do that freelance. So I get to work with a lot of different agencies and entrepreneurs, and I really loved getting to get my hands in all sorts of subjects and niches. And the fact that this program is asynchronous really is conducive to that lifestyle, because a lot of my work is remote, but if I'm ever on a set doing production work or acting, I also do that too. I can take my computer with me and get assignments done, so it's really just fit in perfectly into my life. And I've genuinely enjoyed pretty much every class I've taken, and even gotten to participate in a special extracurricular opportunity with the program, which is also something that I wanted to make sure I got to do if I was going to be a part of a school program again. So I really enjoyed getting the formal educational background in digital marketing. And even though I would say my strengths are more of the creative aspect, I still get to learn about media planning and strategy. And even if it's not, a full-time thing, I can talk with local businesses that I work with or agency presidents and talk intelligently about potential ideas for, consulting or advising or strategizing things, even if it's not my main area. So it's been a really good thing in my life, I think. If there are any more specific questions, I'm happy to answer those too. That was kind of an overview that I hope got communicated decently.
Yeah, thank you. And Sarah was gracious enough to share her personal email address. So if anyone, you can feel free to ask questions now as we go. You can put them in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand or your physical hand if we can see you. And we can ask now, or we can, you can also email her later and ask something offline. Okay. And unfortunately, no, we do not have any interaction with the admissions department to be able to waive the fee. And the admissions department actually does not waive the fee based on Rutgers requirements. So there is not a fee waiver for attending today's session, unfortunately. Okay, so Sarah, you brought up a really good segue to my next slide, which is things you can do beyond the classroom. So I'm just going to jump to this bullet because it's like a highlight of my year this year so far, which is this trophy right here, which Sarah and two other students earned together as a team. And it was this spring was our very first year participating in a particular digital marketing case study competition that was a global competition. Obviously, we're fully online programs, so the three of them collaborated fully online. They were not in the same place recording their pitch. They did it with Zoom, and they together had to create a digital marketing recommendation for a client. This year's client was Radio Flyer, the people that make those red wagons. They were focused on launching their e-bikes and increasing sales of e-bikes. And we competed with 25 other graduate level programs, as well as 100 undergrads were in the competition as well, and undergraduate teams. And we, our very first semester, won first place for the graduate competition, which we're really, really thrilled about. And it was a highlight. And Also, one of our 3 students on the team also got the, I forget what the title was. It was like outstanding student or something like that trophy.
Oh, Alyssa's thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like for a team leader who the team just wouldn't have been what they were without. And when they started saying, like, describing the award, I literally started recording it because I was like, that has to be Alyssa. There's no way that's not. And it was.
She was a great team leader. She actually, I was their advisor, and she was a good team leader for me too. So she was fantastic. So the team did really well and took home 2 awards, the number 1 for the team, and then this outstanding student team leader award for our team leader. And we really want students to, be students, even though this is potentially part-time for people, even though this is fully online, even though it's asynchronous. We want you to collaborate with each other and do things beyond the classroom and take advantage of the resources that Rutgers has that are open to you as well. So in addition to case competitions, we also have a lot of guest speakers. We have a lot of professional development workshops. Last spring, actually this was last fall, we did a series of freelancer workshops. A lot of our students, like Sarah, want to work on their own and take on projects or build their own, build their own solopreneur kind of effort. And so we had a series of 3 workshops. The first one was how to define your business. The second one was how to price yourself. The third one was how to maintain and grow. So we had experts come in and talk about these things, and we want our students to be able to, learn from us beyond the classroom. We also have a guest speakers such as Olga here, who is the head of brand safety at Twitch. So how do you think about making a safe place for advertisers to want to advertise when you can't control the content? And the content is mostly a lot of kids playing video games or horsing around or doing entertaining things, and they can say whatever they want. And why would an advertiser want to be in that environment if they are worried about what could possibly happen, right? So how do you set up brand safety parameters so that marketers are excited, not just okay with, but that marketers want to be inside your content? We have a dedicated career services officer to our program. He's actually the vice dean of the career management office, and he is available to students as soon as you start in the program. And he did a workshop this past semester about jumpstarting your career management process. And he makes sure that students are aware of all the different resources Rutgers offers, such as from the beginning, resume review, from the beginning, thinking about what you want to do and how do you present yourself. They do online interview prep, mock interviews. They help you with finding the job specifically, negotiating your offer, the whole gamut. We do LinkedIn sessions about improving your profile on LinkedIn. Basically, they're here to really be a resource, not just, it's not a job placement service, it's a career management service. And let's see if there's anything else. If you happen to be located near the campus, either in Newark or New Brunswick, New Jersey, which is not at all a requirement, but if you happen to be, you are welcome to be on campus, not for classes, because none of your classes will be online, but you're welcome to come to campus to use the library, to study in the business building, to attend in-person sessions. If we have guest speakers coming in person, you are welcome either online or in person to join Rutgers marketing clubs, which involves the MBA students as well as you guys. There's a graduate level marketing club. We really want you to be involved in student life. And so that may be for most people virtual. If you happen to be nearby, you're welcome to do it in person as well. You can get a student ID if you want one. You do not need one for anything, but if you want one, you can get one even over the mail, and you get access to our full library fully online. I have a couple of graduate students in our program who also are my TAs for my undergraduate classes online. So I teach an intro to marketing course for undergrads online. And my TAs have mostly come from this program. So there's other opportunities for you to get involved. I had a student this summer who went abroad. She went to Greece for 3 weeks with Rutgers. Was not part of our program per se, but because she's a Rutgers student, she was eligible to do that. So you are a full participant at Rutgers Business School. And that brings me to this picture on the bottom, which is our graduation ceremony is in person, and we would encourage everybody to come in person. Not everybody does. I'd say 2/3 of people probably end up coming in person. But it's the first time and sometimes the only time we meet in person. And again, everybody was just so happy and hugging like everyone knew each other already, because it feels like you do after you take classes and do projects, especially projects like this case study competition, which I think the 3 of you felt really close and you worked well as a team.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the thing is, I've always seen their names because we've taken a lot of classes together. So like I've seen their intelligent discussion posts, and like I've seen how smart and thoughtful and fun they are. And we're only like a year apart in terms of when we graduated undergrad. So like when Stacy gave this opportunity to us, I was so excited when they were the other students who were interested. And honestly, it was, dare I say, more fun than working together on a class project. It was like, a real world reward. And like part of me couldn't believe that we advanced to the live presentation, but part of me also could believe it because my teammates were just so fantastic and good at what they do.
Thank you. And Sophia, to answer your question, the study abroad opportunities right now are not specifically integrated with digital marketing. So they're not digital marketing study abroad opportunities that count toward elective credit for us, but you are, You are welcome to take a study abroad that relates to something else, and it will still be on your transcript. You'll still get a grade. It'll still be for credit, but it won't fulfill your 30 credits in our program. So it would be like an extra thing that you could do as a student if you wanted to do it, but it wouldn't be fulfilling a graduation requirement for us. And the Rutgers office of, I forget what it's called, but they have a study abroad office, and they send out these opportunities specifically for graduate students, separate from undergrad. They post these opportunities for study abroad to everybody. And they relate to business, they're not necessarily unrelated, but they won't be specific to digital marketing. And just some outcomes. I mentioned that I do this survey of graduates each semester, actually. So I ask the current graduates, and keep in mind, we just launched, not just anymore, but we launched in fall of 2019. And some people take 4 years to graduate, other people take 1 year. So the first couple of years, we didn't have a lot of graduates yet because people were kind of taking it slow. And only in the past 2 years, 18 months, have we had all the original people have graduated, and we have a lot more bulk of graduates. So this past May, we had 28 new graduates answer our survey. And of the 28, we asked them, since you started the program, have you obtained a new job with a new company or received a promotion at your current company? And about 3/4 had one of the two. 38% overall received a raise from their current company. So that includes people who didn't get a new job or a promotion, but they got a raise. And the salary increase was about 26% between starting and ending the program. And just some of the open-ended comments I got from people, I just wanted to share them with you. You'll see, I don't have to read these to you, but you'll see that the running theme here is that people feel more confident. They're more confident about diving into projects and raising their hand for new projects, because even whatever the project brings, they're going to have learned some of it in our program at some point. So even if you take 4 electives and you miss out on the other 4, you're getting a little bit of everything, because my class covers everything. And a lot of our classes are complementary to each other. So for example, just to go back a bit, if you are taking the advertising class, you're going to learn a little bit about paid search because you can't ignore paid search in an advertising class. And if you don't take search marketing, you'll still get some paid search because you'll have it in digital advertising. Same with social media marketing. In this class, which I teach, I talk about paid social because I can't talk about social and not mention advertising. So I cover it a little bit in this class. So even if you don't take the advertising class, you're going to get some paid social. So a lot of our classes have some complementary content. It's my job as the director to make sure that our classes don't overlap too much, that it's not like 20%, more than 20%, I'd say 15%, 10% is overlapping. But I do want to make sure that you feel like when you leave here that you have a broad view of the industry. So that's important to me. So I want you to feel when you graduate that you can take on any project that relates to marketing, and whatever it throws at you, you'll have some resources in your head to know how to approach it. Or you come back and say, I want to audit this other class because I want to get more on this, right? And it also gives other people confidence in you. So a lot of our students, you can see, have told us that the degree being on the resume, as well as their own skills to speak, make employers feel like they have a stronger background in digital. So it's an endorsement. It made them possible to get hired. That people were impressed by it, and they thought that they could teach them something. So that's really the overwhelming theme that I hear from students, is that they have more confidence in themselves, and that employers have more confidence in them, or clients have more confidence in them. Now, this is stuff that you can get from our website, but I definitely want to talk about it, especially since the deadline is quickly approaching. We are looking for a 3.0 or better for your undergraduate degree. If your undergraduate degree was a long time ago, the GPA matters less than if it was more recently. But 3.0 is the threshold that we want to see. We would love to see, ideally, I would love to say, just to make it clean and clear for people, that you should have 2 years of experience. However, people do not have 2 years of experience, don't necessarily have 2 years of experience. If you in undergrad are somebody that worked, if you did a co-op, if you did internships, if you freelanced, if we have a lot of people who have 1 year of experience, of full-time experience, but they've done so much during college. We have some people who are fresh out of undergrad, but they had a lot of work experience in college. We just want to make sure that you know kind of how business feels and works. And we also want to make sure that this is what you want to do, because I don't want to, frankly, as a director of the program, I want students to be happy in our program and feel satisfied with what they're learning, and spend their money wisely and invest it in a way that makes them better at their careers. And if they're not quite sure, I don't want this to be the fishing expedition that's an expensive fishing expedition. So I would say, if you're not sure, to take a executive ed class instead to start. I would say take, a certificate and see if this is what you like. Maybe try to do a project, learn a little bit more about digital before you invest in a full program. We ask for 3 required essays. The essays basically the first essay asks about your definition of digital marketing and kind of what you think it means and how it fits into your career goals. The second essay asks about a event in your life that you're most proud of. It's not worded quite like that, but people talk about like a highlight or a turning point or a pride point of their professional or educational life that they want to share with us to get to know more about you. And then the third question relates to your kind of readiness for doing asynchronous learning, and what are some obstacles that you anticipate and how will you overcome them. There is an optional 4th essay that purposely is open-ended, and it's intended for you to share whatever we haven't asked that you want us to know. And we definitely encourage you to use that 4th essay because we want to get to know you. We're relying on written communication here in an asynchronous program. So it's important that we hear you as much as possible, be able to express yourself in the application process, so that we know, we have confidence that you'll be able to really succeed in the program. You can also use the fourth essay if you have any gaps. So if you're concerned about your GPA from undergrad, or if you feel like your background doesn't seem logical that you would go into digital marketing or want this degree, and the first essay doesn't quite help you get to the point to explain that, you can explain it more in essay number 4. So essay number 4 is really for you to tell us more about you. We ask for 3 letters of recommendation. The way our recommendations work is you input somebody's name and title and email address, and our system automatically sends them a system-generated email that invites them to click and fill out a form. And the form asks them questions about you, and they have the option of attaching a letter as well. I will just caution everybody, since the next slide says our deadline, if you didn't know, our application deadline is coming up August 1st. So you have a little over 2 weeks. Recommendations are usually the sticky point that takes the longest to come in. And they're kind of out of your control. So you might do your transcript and you might submit your 3 essays and your 4th optional essay. We do not require GMAT or GRE at all. If you've taken them, we would love to see your score, but you are not at all required. Don't take it on our account. So let's say you finish your whole application and you type in your 3 recommenders and you feel like you're done. Your application does not get looked at until the 3 recommendations have come back. And that typically is what holds people's applications up. So it's not considered complete until your 3 recommenders have come back. So what I would definitely do, particularly since we're getting close to August, is I would give your recommenders a heads up when you have submitted their name. And when you give them a heads up, encourage them, if they don't see it in their email, that they should look in their spam folder, because system-generated emails sometimes get flagged by people's email systems, or to them it looks like spam because it's system-generated and they think it's a solicitation and they don't even look at it and they trash it. So make sure they know when you're submitting it, and if they don't see it in their inbox, tell them to explore their junk folder, okay? If needed, our admissions office can resend it to them. So if they insist that they didn't see it, we can send it again, but that seems to be the sticky point. So I just want to give everyone a heads up. I'm also going to give this group a little bit of a secret, which is that I always were able, as long as your application is submitted by August 1st, if it's submitted by August 1st, we typically give you guys until like August 10th to get the recommendations in. So as long as your part is fully done and submitted, then you have a few days grace, about a week and a half grace, for your recommendations to come back before we say, you know, we're shutting it down for the fall. Okay, so don't stress out if you feel like your recommender's on vacation between, you know, now and August 1st. As long as they come back and do it right away, we're good. Okay, so we can talk about individual situations if you guys have more specific questions. If you are an international student, chances are our admissions office is going to be aware of your undergraduate degree, so it probably does not need to be evaluated. But if you do come from a country we're not as familiar with, or a university we're not as familiar with, that may be another thing that slows things down if our admissions office needs to verify your transcript. And we do not get involved with visas because we're a fully online program. You are not required or expected to be on campus. You're not even allowed to be on campus with our program. Like, you're not going to be living on campus with our program. So we don't get involved with visas. And then this is our last slide of information, which is the tuition and fees. Right now, this is taken from our website. It still represents the academic year ending this summer, the 22-23 academic year. In the next few weeks, the Board of Governors meets to set the tuition rates for the fall and spring and next summer. So All I can really tell you is that sometimes it doesn't go up at all, and sometimes it goes up to 4%. So somewhere between 0 and 4% from these prices is what you're going to see for the fall. The courses are priced per credit. So a 3-credit class based on today's rates is $36.54. It is the same for in-state or out-of-state. So because we're fully asynchronous, we don't have any geographical boundaries. You know, we can interact just as easily if we're here or there. Everyone is paying the $36.54. You do have 10 courses, which is 30 credits. So if you wanted to do a rough tuition estimate, you could multiply the two. However, there's some exceptions. If you are attending full-time, if you're somebody that's planning on doing this in 2 semesters, fall and spring, and you take 5 classes in 5 classes or 15 credits and 15 credits, then one of those classes is actually free, because once you hit full-time status, the 12 credits times the number of cost, the amount of dollars per credit caps. And so your 13th, 14th, and 15th credit are not additional once you hit full-time status. So once you hit full-time status, if you were taking 5 and 5, you would pay for 8 classes instead of 10. Okay, so just something to keep in mind if this pertains to you. We have some first semester merits-based scholarships. Every application is reviewed for a scholarship, and it really depends upon your level of undergraduate GPA, your essays, your background, your experience, and it's awarded based on merit. Usually the scholarship, and it changes every semester, but usually every year, but usually it's somewhere between half of a class and almost a full class worth of money that gets credited to your account. So potentially it could pay for the bulk of one class for your first semester. And I mentioned already that the deadline coming up is August 1st, and all this information is available on our website. So I've given you guys only 5 minutes for additional questions, but I'd be happy to answer any if you have.
Me too.
Thank you. Yes, I see Amira.
So I won't be applying this upcoming fall semester. I'll be applying for the spring semester. Will those dates be on the website as well?
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. I didn't mention we have a admissions class, not a class because we don't have to all stay together, but we have an admissions period in the fall and in the spring. And then in the summer, we have a full semester of courses, but we don't accept new students in the summer. So we accept students fall and spring. The deadline for fall is August 1st. The deadline for spring is typically December 18th. And the applications open for the spring by mid-September. So our fall semester begins, I think the date is September 5th. It's usually the Tuesday after Labor Day. And we go until classes are usually over mid-December, like around December 12th. And then there's a finals week that most of your courses won't have finals. Most of your courses will have projects, but there's an extra week or so where you might have some things due. So right up until like the 3rd week of December. And then the spring semester begins January, usually 21st-ish or so. Usually it's the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day. And like I said, that application's due mid-December. So you still have a full month before you start school. So I see there's a note to me about 2 recommendation letters instead of 3. If you're seeing that in my program, it's a mistake. So the applications we've seen so far have all had 3. And so I wasn't aware that you're seeing something different, but there should be 3. Some of our programs have 2, but our program has 3. So I'll double check when we hang up. Any other questions I can answer for you guys? Or Sarah can answer. So I'm gonna end on, you should already have my email because I've invited you to this session, so you know how to find me. I copied Sarah on that email as well as Trudy Ann, so that you can follow up with either of us. Trudy Ann is really the best person if you're having questions about the application process or status or logistics. If you want to talk about the merits of the program with your background, and you're not sure if this is something you want to do, or maybe you're thinking about an MBA or a certification program instead, you can definitely reach out to me. And I will also leave you with Sarah's email here so that you can follow up with her afterwards as well. So I'll stop the recording here. And